Hey, thanks for watching Remark here on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Chris and I ask that you subscribe. If you're like, oh, I know it's on Thursdays, I'll just go check it out. There are different things that YouTube actually allows you to do based on the subscriptions that you have. So the more subscribers we have, the better for us. So if you would be oh so kind as to hit that subscribe button, and you can also hit that little bell next to it, and then you'll be notified anytime we upload anything. And hey, what happens when all these Hallmark movies end? And Chris and I go, well, we're done, I guess. Well, Hallmark doesn't end. Maybe there's a Hallmark movie down the road and we're going to go, hey, let's do that. How are you going to know? So if you subscribe and you hit that bell, that's how you'll know. If you do that for me, I will have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And you should too, from the comfort and safety of your own home.
Do it!
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin.
Hello and welcome to Remark. We are at week 1 million, it seems. And tonight we are talking about the film The Christmas House. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Regan, and with me is the hostess with the mostest, Kristin Finger.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We did get to watch The Christmas House. The Christmas House is just that, a house that brought a family back together. And this family had a tradition where they would dress the inside, dress the outside with just Christmas. They hadn't done it in years and years, but the mother made a phone call to her one son and said, we're doing it. And him and his husband said, we'll be there. Then she called her other son and he said, really? Well, your brother's doing it. Well, then I'll do it. This starts a brotherly rival that follows through this entire film that is beautiful. Now, the family does get together, and the enjoyable thing about this film is we had 3 delicious plots to follow along with. We had the husband and wife, aka mom and dad, the older brother and his long-lost friend, a woman who he loved and maybe still does. Plus, the youngest brother and his husband are trying to adopt a child. So we have 3 juicy plot lines in one giant, juicy film called The Christmas House. Now, Kevin, we weren't the only ones that got to watch this weekend. We invited 2 folks along this weekend.
First up, we have Betty Smithsonian. Hey, Betty.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kristin. Thanks so much for having me.
Being here. And of course, we invited Hen Smith. Everyone say hi, Hen. Yay.
Hi, Hen.
Hey, everyone.
Hen.
Thanks for having us.
We are so excited. So out of the gate, we like to ask, are you an avid Hallmark watcher, okay, or you've never seen one, or you're somewhere in the middle on that scale? So, Hen, I'm going to start with you. Where do you fall?
For me personally, I'm somewhere in the middle. I enjoy like a made-for-TV Christmas movie, but I can't say that my allegiance is towards just Hallmark. It could be Lifetime, could be ABC Family, whatever it may be. I'm down if the story is good.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of Kevin and I's boat too. We just picked Hallmark because Remark was an easy name to create for a show. Betty, how about you? Where do you fall on the scale?
Probably close to the very end of the spectrum where I don't have cable, like regular TV. I needed Kevin's password to log in. By the way, I've logged into the rest of your account, upgraded your sports package on
Nice.
cable. And I'm Jewish, and I honestly don't watch very many Christmas movies except for like Elf, the one where he shoots his eye out, and the 10 Commandments, which is the best Christmas movie.
Wow.
Good.
You have such a wide range of Christmas films. So this is great. We have like a not so green and a more green Hallmark viewer. Betty, I'll let you unpack this. Like, well, as you were watching this, like, tell me everything.
Yeah, it was, first of all, I mean, were there any white people left in that town? Come on, let's be serious.
Yeah.
I love, my favorite part was when they opened the Christmas house at the end and it's like all the diversity scholarships come on in, and they're like, here we go, we're the sons of the producers. They like line up. The thing that I thought was really interesting, if I could really say that none of the storylines, none of the plots, none of the people, the characters actually like gave me any indication of to like who they were and what they liked. It was so superficial. It was like the wrapping of Starburst.
Oh,
You know, like I could eat this as
Yeah.
that.
That's typical. They don't give you ever too much of a backstory unless it directly applies to the plot of the movie. Like you don't get to find out like their favorite movie is Top Gun. Like we don't know that stuff.
if you're looking for character development, my strongest suggestion is watch the Evergreen series because it's ongoing and there's still no character development.
There's still no character development.
And then my one question for you Hallmark watchers, Hen included, I guess you're also someone, first of all, nonstop logo town. I was like, is this, what is this CNN? The feed underneath was like, boom, 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 boom. The previews for the other Hallmark Christmas movies, same exact sets, same exact costumes. Is there a Hallmark movie like studio space where they just shoot everything?
Yes. And yes to your other question, and yes to the other one. This is a well-oiled machine that is just churning out butter every single time. And I'm pretty sure the same props are used in movies because they're sponsored by Balsam, which company? So all the trees are Balsam brand, all the ornaments are, all the garland is. Plus they're sponsored by Campbell's. So there's always like a soup. So
one of the things that you'll notice, and especially, I guess they're probably managed differently, but at the Movies and Mysteries channel, which is also Hallmark, I've noticed the stock footage that they shoot, all the B-roll they use, it's repeated ad nauseum at this point. I've seen the same exterior shots 4 times just this year, and it's only 5 weeks or 4 weeks into running these movies. So it's crazy how they don't. And again, a lot of this year, we just go, oh, because of COVID. It's probably because of COVID. And it might be. It's possible they didn't send out a team to do a lot of that scouting, although that's typically done last year because you need the snow. So.
Right.
But I like that. I like that you know what you're getting. I like that like they also share probably casts and they share extras.
Yeah.
I love that it's so obvious that it's filmed in June because not a single fog breath thing happens.
It's true.
You know what you're getting when you watch a movie.
I think that's what's so comforting and why a lot of, at least like folks that aren't just white old Christian women watch these movies. But I just like the comfort of knowing exactly what's going to happen because I don't know what the hell my storm of a life is.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know the answer to the end of this movie before you ever even sit down to watch it. Really fast too, I want to say something, what Hen had just said about shared casts. We obviously see the same actors season by season, but this year we actually had the judge in the opening scene of Handsome Justice was B.J. Harrison, who played Aunt Mary in Jingle Bell Bride, which was the first movie that we broke down this for Remark. So if you go back and watch Jingle Bell Bride, look at Aunt Mary, that's the judge in Handsome Justice. So you do see a lot of people show up, and they sometimes they're playing bigger characters or smaller characters, depending on what they need in the shoot.
The MCU universe has nothing on Hallmark.
No.
Kevin has a theory. Kevin has a multiverse theory in which Hallmark is a multiverse.
It's not a theory. It's at this point a proven fact.
It's real.
It feels like the Hallmark movies are like the QVC of cinema.
Yes.
Like it's okay. It's like I could legit watch QVC and watch them sell anything. I'm like I'm into the characters even though it's tiny little like something's on his shirt. She didn't mention it, and like tiny plot lines that mean nothing. And in the meantime, the world's on fire. But I'm like, what's next?
What is this?
Liz?
Yeah. Speaking of the world being on fire, can we talk about
the house fire?
Yes.
Like the literal house fire? That was
Like it literally caught a spark, and then the next scene is everything's on fire.
yeah. It turned into a horror film. That was Hallmark doing horror.
It was truly the most special effects I think I've ever seen.
But I just love that, like, we also never found out what Jake,
What he did.
Brandon's husband, did for a living,
Yeah.
because he can work from anywhere, but he also can fix an electrical problem.
He's IT.
He just talks you through your electrical problems over the
Turn the
phone.
computer off. Fixed.
I was wondering if, I mean, I can't speak for Hen, but I can speak for myself. I'm very, very gay.
I will let you speak for me.
Okay. I, Hen Smith, am very, very gay. I am super, super gay, as is Betty. I'll let you speak for me, Hen.
Me, Betty, pretty gay. If you look up gay in the dictionary, it's a picture of me. But this movie made me straight. This movie made me straighter than I've ever been.
Wait, are you Betty or Hen now? I don't know.
Yeah, who are you?
It's a little bit of both, I think. I don't know if the queer representation in this movie did anyone any favors, except for people who want to do conversion therapy.
I mean, I was going to say, I think the folks watching that channel,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen live commercials since the Super Bowl. Like, I just don't watch live commercials. So those commercials were also like Hallmark movie. I couldn't figure out when the movie came back in.
Yeah.
But in thinking that the gay guys in the movie, I mean, of course, they're from Colorado, they're adopting a baby, they own a bakery, they're incredibly handsome and smart, educated, super wealthy. I think it represents gay people pretty well, actually.
In its lack of inclusivity for years and years, to kind of fix that, which they've really been, we've seen a lot of. This one was there was definitely a Snow White feel to this one. Like everyone was very white in this, but in a lot of the episodes so far this season, episodes, I always say that in a lot of the movies,
They're full feature films, Kevin.
I know they feel episodic because it's the same
Yeah.
plot over and over. You have seen a lot of diversity, including same-sex partnerships and of male and female, which is really, really new for Hallmark.
Very new.
But I will say this, they still write all of it with the same pen, which is everybody is wealthy. There is the only people who are poor in Hallmark are the people that are meant to be pitied and we're going to save them. That's it.
Yeah.
They're the people who struggle. Otherwise, the houses are gorgeous. Although I will say this house was pretty generic looking for Hallmark, considering the name of the movie was The Christmas House. Until it was decorated, it was like, it's just a house.
Yeah. Like, is this a Christmas shed? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So Hallmark pulled a commercial last December
Yes.
for a moment because
Yep.
the commercial was for a wedding website, and there was a gay couple featured. And they pulled the commercial because the folks watching these movies were freaking outraged.
It was
So how
it
do
was
you-
1 Million Moms, which is a group on Facebook, and they can.
Isn't it like 100? Isn't it like 100 women?
Yeah, yeah. It's one person.
One woman.
Yeah.
And I know her name because I've been dealing with her on these Hallmark freaking Facebook groups.
Stop it, Kristin.
I
So wait a second. So, I mean, my question is, how does it go from that in December
Mhm.
right.
to less than 8 months later, or whatever the day is? And clearly this movie has been, potentially shot whenever. I mean,
Yeah.
how does that happen?
It's the agenda.
Listen,
Yeah, you tell us, guys. You tell us how it happened.
what is it? Because the woman on the Facebook group was like, I'm tired of this gay agenda. So I told her I was going to buy her a gay agenda t-shirt, and she didn't like it. And then that was deleted. I've been coming at these people hard a lot, which has been really fun. And what I don't quite understand is that they literally just think that Hallmark, like Jesus made it. Like the reason Hallmark exists is because of Jesus's existence and his word. I mean, the interesting thing is some of these films have started having not just the dead mom alert or dead
Right.
dad alert, but over the past years, they've entered divorce.
Yeah.
And that like no one had a problem with that. Or maybe they did.
Oh,
and
I'm sure they
maybe
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm certain they did. They're moving that sense of reality, you know, and trying to, as fantastical as it is, they're trying to put degrees of realism into it. So, you know, but and I actually appreciate the small ways in which they do it. Like for this couple, it would have been very easy to make these two gentlemen a partnership. But they made the point of making sure they called them husband, and they showed their wedding rings. And it was like, I thought that was awesome. Like, and the trailer, they did the head bump, which felt very like Kevin Costner in Untouchables, you know?
Our wedding photographer made John do that. Kevin, do you remember that? The guy's like, just
do.
because I had red lipstick on, he's like, just do like a head bump. We couldn't. We looked like idiots.
You do. But
no
that
one
was
can
my
pull off
fear.
a head bump.
My fear was that was going to be the intimacy, and it was, I had this weird, like, I didn't want to justify what they did if they did it if they did it wrong, which would be to not have intimacy. But then in my stupid brain, my lizard brain, I was like, well, if they don't kiss, that is a Hallmark rule. You don't typically kiss till the end of the movie, so I guess that's okay. And then 39 minutes into the movie, the two men kissed, and I was like, yeah, those Facebook groups can burn. It was awesome.
Well, and I got into a fight on Reddit last night about this movie because, and my feelings about this subplot in this movie is conflicting, because I love that it exists, but anyway, so the person on Reddit was saying like, oh, these liberals, this gay agenda, blah, 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 the same talking points that you hear 100 times, but it's like, these two gay guys are definitely log cabin gays, definitely voted for Trump. Like, they're not rocking anyone's boat by showing these two gay guys.
Yeah.
Like, no one had blue hair and was like on Grindr. Like, it was like they were, the only thing that made these two people gay was the fact that in the script they were, because if they weren't, and you just substituted one with a woman,
yep,
nothing in the script would have said anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Except when halfway through they started referring to each other as Judy. That would have been weird if they were male and female. Been like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a gay trope. I will say that I think we congratulate the tiniest little bit of progress for a fucking massively like homophobic world. We're like, okay, well, they didn't say the N-word. They just said, and you're like, what? No, that doesn't, we're not going to put the standards of Hallmark Channel like I do for my own dad. Like, we have to give someone more, like, catch up. I don't think we should measure them against themselves. Why don't we measure Hallmark against, I don't know, the mid 90s, maybe.
Right.
It's just like, get to the Friends season 3. Like, just.
I got more gay energy from the neighbor Andy than I got from the two gay guys. Also, there was a Hallmark movie a couple years ago called It's Christmas Carol, and that had Carrie Fisher in it. That also gave me gayer energy.
The cinematic universe where now we know it's a flashback because there's this cloud filter.
Oh yeah.
Is that a Hallmark?
Yes.
Especially this season. Yeah, they're big on this season. Yep.
I mean, some of these they'll use the same actors, but like the dude's hair is always brushed back in like the now, but then there's like 3 pieces to make him younger. Like the
20 years difference. And you're like, what? It's weird to figure out what was the A, what was the B, what was the C storylines in this. My assumption is Majestic Mike.
Majestic
Mike.
that would have been so much gayer. Why was that?
I know, right? Majestic Mike was the A storyline. The gay couple adopting the child was the B storyline. And then the C storyline made 0 sense at all, which was Treat Williams and Sharon Lawrence, that were the couple that we find out they're starting to fall apart. The couple, the marriage is starting to fall apart, and they need something in their life. So they bring back this Christmas house. They're going to sell the house. They're going to, like, that was all nonsense. However, if they really wanted to make this the gay film, it would have made sense for Treat Williams to be essentially stepping out like, look, this isn't working for me. And I mean, there were moments where I was like, is that is that the subtext? Is that like, is it my subtext? I don't know. It was very interesting to watch it.
I thought we were going to definitely have This Mom Is Dying.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought she was dying. And then when I found out that she was just mad that her husband, who retired before her, started making new friends with his spare time, I was like, I'm sorry, what?
I've literally never seen two people more in love and happy. And they were literally like, well, I guess we have to get divorced.
Yeah.
You have to buy 2 houses.
Yeah.
When they suggested that they don't get divorced, they were like, you know what?
You know what?
You're right.
You're right. Some of the older ladies on the Hallmark groups were very happy with that plot line. They were like, it was so nice to see over 60-year-olds being represented in a loving. And I was like, okay, here we go. I didn't realize you felt underrepresented.
No, I get that. And like, I'm not trying to be ageist, but it was the idea that the catalyst of the problem was Phyllis was the mother being like, this isn't working. And Bill, Treat Williams, is trying to do whatever he can to the point where he's like, fine, let's sell this house that I love because that's what you want. So what do you want to do? And she's like, I want to buy a new house and I want you to fix it up. And it's like, so you don't want to do any of the work at all.
He has no backbone. He is literally her like.
Are we able to talk briefly about just how much more magic this movie is related to than we thought it would be? Because there is so much plot about like magic tricks, doing magic, putting on a magic show.
Yes.
And my answer to that is, it didn't work. I have a limp hat, so it's not going to work.
That's
anymore.
your answer, is a limp hat.
Yeah, there was a lot of magic.
I was very excited. I love when like the little kid is a like straight shooter little spinster and not just like, I'm here in the movie.
Yeah.
When this kid was like, I don't like your show, it's bad, blah, blah, blah. And then like he was straight up like, my mom's been talking about you. Like she wants to get on that. And like she was like, that's not what I was doing. So when he was like, I want to learn magic, I was like, I want to watch this kid learn magic. And there was sort of a montage of it, but I could have used more of the Jack Black of Hallmark.
Marvelous Jim is who you're referring to.
Was also the DJ at the Christmas house party.
He might have been Santa Claus too at the very end. That was like, because Santa was holding his watch and it was like, wait, is he Santa?
I thought that was the dad. Wasn't that the dad?
The dad was
down.
At the very end, there was the statue of Santa outside the house, and it was holding Jim's pocket watch that he makes disappear in the magic shop.
You know, the all of the plot lines and everything, I realized they really don't believe that anybody watching has a molecule of a brain.
No.
You turn it off.
Yeah, or you turn it off, or you actually have no brain and there's nothing to figure out. Like usually, even a movie that's like a Reese Witherspoon movie, which is right around a Hallmark, maybe, you know, depending. There's at one point you have to have one question like, wait, are they related? Is that the brother? Like they might as well have been wearing name tags the entire time with like a tree, like my cousin, and we're gonna go to New York. And there was a lot of the, you know, the takes where you show people you're thinking.
What Betty needs is Hallmark movies and mysteries.
Yes.
That's true. You would get value.
There is always a mystery.
I mean, there's allegedly a mystery.
I think one weird thing of this movie that I liked is every time a character said to Mike something along the lines of like, you've gone to Hollywood, or like, what are you, some sort of like Hollywood? He literally never exhibited any sort of Hollywood like typical actor behavior. He was nice. He filmed a promo for free. The one thing that he said was, do we have any oat milk? And then everyone was like, you're so Hollywood. Blah, blah.
He's like, he said, is there a dairy alternative? Because I have IBS and I'll shit my pants. And they're like, oh, Hollywood, don't want to shit your pants on your mom's kitchen floor?
Oh, that's so Hollywood. Everyone out here just shits on the floor. Who do you think you are, fancy pants?
This guy wanted to be on the show. Sorry, he wouldn't stop talking.
Is that the Christmas cat?
This is the Christmas cat.
I will say that I thought that not just the people being white specifically, I think, but they all kind of looked alike too. Yeah. All their clothes, I'm like, I mean, looked like anybody else, right? Like I was like, oh, what's that guy been in? It's like nothing. He's been in nothing. He is a doppelganger of versions of Tobey Maguire and this one and that one.
So the lead, it was bothering me when I was watching all of the previews for it. And I was like, why do I know him? Why?
iZombie.
iZombie. And I was like, oh, they didn't do him justice in iZombie. He's got a great comedic sort of timing to himself a little bit. And also the dude, Jonathan Bennett, hilarious. Like the
Which
way
one was that?
He's the younger brother. So like their brother rivalry was the cutest. One of my favorite moments was when they just straight up ran to go rent the car first in the beginning.
Yeah.
He knocked over someone's suitcases. No one gave a crap and just kept going. But then he let his brother win. And when he went to like jump over the railing, he's like, nope, not gonna do that. And I was like, that's so real.
Although he 100% could have done that. He was in fantastic shape. You're not gonna, because you'd be fine. But this is a good time then, Kristin, to do Kristin's Hallmark Holiday Hunk Objectification.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Each week, we get to objectify the male lead of this film that we are watching. Now, the thing is, in this film, we get to do two, because why not? There's technically two male leads, even maybe four, but we've chosen two. So we will be doing Majestic Mike, aka Mike, played by Robert Buckley. And we will also be doing Brandon, who is played by Jonathan Bennett. And we rate these fellers 1 out of 10 mistletoe. And I like to rate this just off of their looks. Do you like the way they wear clothes? Do you like the way that they move? Do you think that they have swagger? Are they sexy? And that's your definition of whatever you find that. And also, I guess, if you like their character. So I always like to start with my co-host with the most. Kevin Regan, 1 out of 10 mistletoes. Let's begin with the older brother, Mike.
Okay, so Majestic Mike. I like Mike. You had said Robert Buckley had a good sense of timing, comedic timing. A lot of times you don't get that in Hallmark movies. You either get someone who has no comic timing or there's no comedy written for them whatsoever. I felt like he had it. One of the things I hated about the character, though, was in his flashback before he went to give his magic partner a necklace, and the necklace failed. The fact that that was the end of their relationship was so bizarre to me. Like, he turns around because he can't get the necklace out of the box. When he finally does, he turns around. She's gone because some jock has taken her away, which is problematic in and of itself. And that's the end of their relationship. So he was riding high for me up until that point. And I don't want to put too much on a kid. But
you're just in the kid.
So I took that into account, and I measured. I'm still going to give him a high score of an 8.5 because I think he's a solid dude. I'm all right with him. 8.5.
8.5 out of what? 100?
Out of 10. Out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of 10. Great. And how about Kev? How about for the brother Brandon?
Brandon, I loved. They gave him the funniest lines. Like, there was the point where his brother Mike does something, he goes, ooh, muscles, and it's just like there's like a lot of great brother rivalry. He reminded me of my one cousin, and I loved him. My problem with him was I didn't think he gave a crap about the fact that he was adopting a kid. I think Jake, his husband, did. I think Jake was all in, but I felt like Brandon was like, whatever. And he does say it's fallen through 3 times, so he's got lower expectations, and I take that into account too. So based on that, I don't want to cause a sibling rivalry, so I gave him an 8.5 as well.
Oh, very cute. That was very nice of you. Ken, where do you fall on the mistletoe scale? First for Mike.
So for Mike, and I'm going to refer to people just as their character names because I can't remember their actor names.
That's fine.
As far as like the male protagonist of a Hallmark movie goes, a lot of times a Hallmark Christmas movie, the city goer, like the person who moved away, they'll be incredibly flawed. So moving back home is like some sort of a culture shock.
Yeah.
But he was nice the whole time. Like, he's just a nice guy. He didn't have a lesson really to learn except for don't be clumsy with trick boxes.
Right.
Like, that's his only lesson. So he's not a jerk. He's very nice, and that is attractive. He also has good skin, good body, yada, yada. Eyebrows for 3 days. I'm not going to say he's a 9 in real world, but in Hallmark,
Yeah.
he is a 9 mistletoe.
I love it. Yeah. That's the world we're rating this in. How about his brother Brandon?
To not out myself as being some sort of morally corrupt person, what I'm going to say next may be shocking. But I thought that the brothers had more chemistry than the two married boys.
I think that's fine. It doesn't have to. Chemistry is not always romantic, but I agree they had a lot of chemistry.
If I wrote fanfic, which I've never have, but I know that a lot of moral lines get blurry in fanfic. If I did write a fanfic, I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
I would read it. I would be an avid reader of that because I loved those two together.
Let me just objectify him, I guess, besides just, saying that. Objectively speaking, I don't think they look related, but he was also very attractive. He gave me, they wanted to hire Adam Daly, but they couldn't get him. And I'm not into that facial structure of a person, but he wants to be a dad, whatever. Like, he had the best lines. He had the best lines in the movie. But I just have so many conflicting feelings about him that he unfortunately has to have an 8.
Okay, that's fine.
And I only get with 10s, so
That's
it's like,
Good, thank you, Hen. How about you, Betty? 1 out of 10 mistletoes for the older brother, Mike.
Well, he had one of those faces where I was like, well, he's one of a million different people, which on the one hand is like, how boring that you can be confused for like 25 other, actors in Hollywood on soap operas, missing children on milk cartons. You look like anybody. But then there's something so wonderful about that. You're just like, you're everybody, actually, And I mean, like Hen said, I'm pretty gay, but I still know a good, rough kind of beard vibe going. I get the chiseled, but also like unkept, but I really worked on this, but it's unkept, I would probably give him a solid 8. I would give him an 8. He was the best he acted the best. He was the best actor. And then also when he became Magical Mike or whatever, he was even better. I'm like, oh, give this guy the fucking host job. Like, he can host a fucking show, dude. Guess what? He's doing voices all the time, too. He's got his voices. He's doing his things. So it's good. The gay brother, honestly, I thought he was fake. I thought his cheeks were bigger than they had to be. Like, he had these big cheeks. I'm like, is this guy just coming from rehab? He looked like a stand-in for Chandler in like 6th or 7th season of Friends, where you're like, dude had a rough summer, right? He's like, I'm fine.
You wanted season 3, they went 7, and you're like, come on, too far.
Yeah, dude, he's like a little bit bloated, but also like kind of smarmy, but maybe he's, And I didn't believe that he was happy when he got the call about the kid. Like he's like, oh. So I'd probably give him on a 5 range, and that's with the gay bonus point. He also, where he rounded up because of, we got to do that.
So it was a 4.3, but you rounded up. We get it.
You rounded up.
You got a 0.7 rounded up for 12th Air Command sponsorship.
Thank you all for your objectification. We can no longer tag Jonathan Bennett in this episode because of Betty.
Oh, good. Well, I'm really glad that he brought. It was his real son at the very end. Did you know that?
Right?
Yeah, it was Jake. Brad Harder's real son, his husband. Yeah.
Are those two actors gay in real life? Do we know?
Yeah, both of them are gay in real life. The one that played like his husband, the one that played Jake, is married, and they just adopted a son about 1.5 years ago. So the kid at the end is that actor's real son, which is very sweet.
And they were conceived in a Christmas house. That's where the child was conceived, in Iceland.
That's right.
Right.
So I also, of course, will objectify these two men. I'm going to start with Mike, like everyone else did. I'm going to give him like 3 meows. Meow, meow, meow. Kristin likes this look on a guy. She really does. Like when he walked out in those like tight high school clothes, my uterus fell out of me, and then I just held it for the rest of the movie because I was like, we're gonna be okay if he continues to look like that the entire movie.
Kristin, you did notice when he left the kitchen, not only did his neighbor check him out, but so
His
did
mom checked
mother.
him out. His mom was like, well, okay, that's my
So,
boy.
Hen, your fan fiction, not too far away from the reality, buddy.
There you go.
When he went right into those commercial bits where he was like, oh, I have to do it. He's like, oh my God. Like that is, thank you so much. I love a guy that'll just do voices and do like,
Free
I
work,
love
what
him.
you're into. You're into people, artists who do free work.
I'm really into him. Also, like Hen was saying, he was never a jerk, like never. He just couldn't figure out a box, and that was his biggest obstacle, and he succeeded.
His brother couldn't figure out a box either. That's why he's gay.
Oh, Hen.
I gave Mike a 9.5.
Oh.
Wow.
I put my uterus back in, and then I gave him a 9.5. How about Brandon, huh? So again, I think he's really hot, but there was definitely like, and I loved the sense of humor that he got to have. And I think that's that person's natural sort of just charisma.
Yeah.
And I love that. So that made me more attracted to him. But again, like they gave him okay writing in those bits, but the rest of his like sort of stuff when he wasn't being funny just was a little dry. Like, and like what Betty's saying is like, when they got that phone call, he was like, okay, we're gonna kid. Oh, we're gonna get a kid. like, I don't know. I gave him a 9. I didn't give him the 9.5. I gave him the 0.5 was because I feel like he could have had that charisma through everything he did. He sort of did in that moment, or no, his husband actually had it when he was like, can we decorate our house like this? The husband knew the bit and was like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. Like I fell in love with the husband in that moment because the husband had been a little dry till then.
So do you want to give Jake the 9?
I'll give Jake the 9.
Yeah, that's so Kristin the Kraken, or Kooky Kristin, or Kitschy Kristin.
Thank you.
I'm giving you a magic name.
I know what you were doing.
Although I noticed that Marvelous Jim is not alliterative, but everybody else's was. Nimble Noah, which is a terrible name.
That's awful. That's just you being able to creep around the house without anyone hearing you.
Yeah, right? It's very weird. It sounds like a mouse. I feel like Nimble Noah would be a story about a mouse. An animated piece. I'm not doing another animated piece about a mouse now just because we said it. But I will say this. We learned a lot about magic, and I would love to show you some magic from our friend, Fred.
Let's watch.
Hi, it's time for some holiday magic. Watch. You know, December is the most magical month of the year. It's because it has Hanukkah, my birthday, and Christmas within a few days of each other. And my relatives would come to visit, and I would get to see my Uncle Phil, who always did magic tricks for me. He would just be sitting there in the room, minding his own business, and then he'd look in my direction. And Freddie, come here. What? There's something. I see something there. It's in your ear. Let's see. I think. Yeah. Here. It's a quarter. Huh. Well, you hold on to that, Freddie. Put it under your pillow. Eventually, I figured out how he did that, but it didn't stop me from loving it. Now, if I were your uncle, I might do a different trick. You know, inflation. I might start with $1, and I'd say, hey, come here, kid. I want to show you something. How to double your money. See, you fold it, and that's how you double it. You can multiply it even more than that. By the way, can you see it? You have to move it as close as possible. Can you see it closely? Okay, and I'm going to blow on it. And will you blow on it? Blow on it. Now I'm going to move very slowly so you can see. It's starting to look a little better now, isn't it? Yeah, it looks like your $1 bill has turned into a 20. You take that, kid. Put it under your pillow. I miss my Uncle Phil. Thanks for watching.
Chris, this wasn't the only movie that was on Hallmark this weekend. We also had a Godwink tale. I believe it's called Second Coming.
Second Chance, First Love. Bring.
You do it. You know it.
Second Chance on First Love, or something like that. And we have our famous sleuths, Aubrie and Shannon, on the case to find out what the mystery of this mystery and movies on Hallmark was. Bring!
Hello and welcome to Winter Wonder Whodunit. I'm Aubrie, this is the child, and my co-host is Shan. Shan, where are you?
I'm so sorry.
Dun, dun, dun,
My friend.
Oh my god, two childs!
This is the way.
Today we are going to review A Godwink Christmas, Second Chance, First Love.
Yep, that was the name of the movie.
That was the whole name of the movie.
And that is why I have my support Yoda today.
Oh, your emotional support, Yoda.
That was a rough one.
Godwink is a sign of divine origin. It's a sign of hope, if you will. It's basically a coincidence. So this movie opened on Pat moving back from Hawaii with his two young boys, John and PJ. They are staying with his mother, and all of their ornaments are being shipped from Hawaii. This is a plot point they mentioned right out the gate.
It's a very important plot point, apparently.
Probably gonna come back soon. And then we also open on Marjorie, who is a big-time exec at Connor & Co., which is the name of her company, which is big. They're like the Pier 1 imports of the Hallmark Channel, is what I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. They're the Pier 1 of Hallmark.
I forget his name, but Marjorie...
when she's dating that guy, she doesn't remember his name either.
No, I don't think they like each other, but... So
they did not like each other. It was very weird that they were dating for 6 months, and they literally looked like they'd never met each other. Yeah.
You didn't hug, you didn't kiss.
No.
Maybe you're in a professional setting. I get it. PDA, maybe not cool at Connor & Co. It's in their handbook. They hate PDA at Connor & Co.
Wait, we should point out, what's the main guy's name?
Pat.
All right, so Patrick and Marjorie, Margarine, were dating as teenagers. Like, they dated in high school. They were high school sweethearts. Then he decided to move to Hawaii and not go to college. Because what we learned from this movie is if you decide to move to Hawaii and not go to college, you will eventually sell a business for millions of dollars.
Yes. Driving his old ass car with like a wreath on the front of it, his red classic car, which was the car he drove when they were at like the big dance. Prom, I believe.
Prom
is the name of the big dance in general.
The big dance.
I believe it's
AKA
called a prom. That was the car he was driving when she lost her Christmas tree charm.
His Santa dream car.
Yeah, in the Santa dream car, and he's driving it now to go get a tree. I think.
Toothbrushes.
Oh, go get toothbrushes. I'm wrong every time. She is driving behind him and she is like, oh my God, that can't be Patrick. And she's like, look in your rearview mirror, Patrick. And he was like, and the sun is shining. And then he like looks in and he's like, it can't be Marjorie. And then they get out.
And she was like, oh, I'm dating this guy who I don't know his name. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'm divorced and I moved back to Boise. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. It's weird that we keep running into each other. And he was like, oh yeah, that is weird. They just do that.
Yeah.
Like 8 times. And then she breaks up with the guy that she doesn't like.
Yes. Her friend is always telling her that, like, you guys are meant to be together. There's so many Godwinks. Her friend is drinking a giant glass of wine that is like filled to the top. And I wish I took a picture of that. I'll regret it forever.
She absolutely embodied how we feel while watching these movies.
She really did.
Glass of wine was truly a mood, and it was wonderful. Pat doesn't have a job because he sold his business for millions of dollars. But then he gets a job in the Park Service in Seattle, because when I think Park Service, I think Seattle. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna move there. Is that okay, kids? And the kids were like, yeah, fine. But Grandma's gotta come. And then Grandma's like, yeah, let's do it. They all decide to move to Seattle, and he tells Marjorie, and she's like, oh, sad. And then Marjorie gets a promotion.
This is my favorite scene in the movie because I've never seen a character act so excited so badly. And they're like, we couldn't tell you this whole time because we had to settle the package with the other guy who was still in his position. So we had to keep it a secret and keep it under wraps. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you're going to keep your job and I'm going to keep my job. Oh my God. I'm like touching each other. They were just like.
That was the most they touched each other in the entire movie, just as a side note. Were they buying that guy out of his job? I feel like that was a very bizarre plot point because they were like, we had to negotiate our plan to like kick him out. And I was like, did you just fire that guy? Okay, so she gets a promotion. And where does that take her, Aubrie?
So she's promoted to the head of marketing at headquarters, which you'll never guess where it is, guys.
Where was it?
Oh my God. Could it be in Seattle?
It was.
It was in Seattle. We solved the mystery of where Connor & Co. is located.
And we thought that was another Godwink. And so she like excitedly runs to take her lunch break to tell Pat that she got a job in Seattle. And he's like, what? And she's like, I did. And then they're like, great, let's make love. And they didn't, but they
hugged awkwardly and then they kissed.
Right, they hugged very awkwardly. Oh, can you please also reveal our favorite part of this entire film was the end when they reveal that
this is about a real family. And they showed the picture of them and they like named all of them and the kids and they showed the couple. But here's the thing, we're not sure that the couple had this exact story.
Do you think that they wrote this movie and then were like, yeah, it's based on these people? They had no idea. Like their story is actually that they just kind of like met at a bingo night. What if it's a picture of a couple in a frame in a Hallmark store and they were just like, yeah, it's about this couple? I would like to take us to our next segment called Hallmark Card Product Placement, where I demonstrate how they placed the product of a Hallmark card.
Oh my God, did they turn it around? I missed this detail.
They did. It was that slow. They turned it around.
Okay, so that brings us to our next segment, which is the definition of a Godwink. So we're going to make up some of our own. They started off the bat with the definition of a Godwink, which was long and boring. We think we can switch it up a bit, you know? The definition of a Godwink is when God is in a dusty old library and a little particle gets in his eye and he's like, oh, what's in there? Godwink.
So a Godwink is when a raindrop falls into a puddle and then it like goes like out and then a child falls in it head first and has to go to get stitches.
Godwink. It's when you're watching an old episode of The Happy Days and your favorite, The Fonz, comes on and you're like, ooh, who plays The Fonz? Is it Henry Wink Godwink.
I think it'd be Henry Godwinkler though.
Henry Godwink. Yeah, I missed.
That his middle name is God. He doesn't tell a lot of people, but Henry Winkler's middle name is God.
Henry Godwinkler.
Yeah, Henry Godwinkler.
Godwinks.
I think I'm better at one eye than the other.
Yeah, this is my weak eye. I can't really.
Is it weird that I'm a left-eyed Winkler, but I'm a right-handed writer?
Godwink.
And now for our favorite segment we call Audition, where we audition to be in a movie. I'm not sure that this one is the one we want to be in, but listen, we'll be in anything. So Aubrie, who would you like to audition for?
I would like to audition for the role of one of the boys being very confused by something you wear in winter.
Great. Here, I got you earmuffs.
What are earmuffs?
Yeah, great.
So Shan, what would you like to audition for?
Oh, Aubrie, I would like to audition for a Godwink because I feel it's the name of the movie.
Oh my!
I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Huh? Wherever could it be? I found it.
Godwink.
All right, Shan, this has been a wonderful episode of Winter Wonder Whodunit.
Yeah.
So until next time, friends, Winter
Wonder Whodunit.
It out.
Not a Godwink fan.
No, I am not either. I don't care if these are based on true stories.
Yeah, I always forget that part. And then that comes up at the end and I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like, I wish them well and stuff. But it's like...
that's cute. But, like, also, were the writers that dumb? They're like, let's find someone that has a cool story and just use that.
One of the things that drives me crazy is, like, everything is explained as, oh, it's a Godwink. Oh, there's another guy who was getting coffee in that coffee shop that doesn't live here but grew up in this town and it's the holidays and he happened to come home to visit his family. What are the odds of that? Pretty good is what I would say.
Pretty good. It's the holidays.
Like, it just was all like, oh, whatever. And that damn sound effect for everything. It's a horror film. I would watch that. The Godwink.
The Godwink.
Yes. You have the same coffee mug. Godwink. Or you bought me this coffee mug.
Godwink.
You buy them in bulk?
Yeah, I have 30 of them. Because I've broken 9 of these already. Smash! This movie was terrible.
But it did have a gentleman in it. So this would be a perfect time for Godwink's Hallmark Holiday Hunk Objectification.
Thank you so much, Kevin. That brings me into my objectification of the male lead. 1 out of 10 mistletoes. Was this man bangable? Kevin, 1 out of 10 mistletoes.
Yeah, you guys all know the setup at this point. Chris doesn't need to describe it.
I just keep I make it worse every time.
I love it. Right. So we're talking about Sam Page. He is the very poor man's Mark Ruffalo. Very poor man. I qualified it. Not just poor man, very poor. Like, destitute. No, I've seen Sam Page and stuff, and I've liked him a lot. I don't know if he has, like, and I don't want to make fun of a disability if he does, but he always looked like he had, like, chew in his mouth. Did you, like, was it always like that? Like,
it's interesting because I had to go to like a speech therapist in acting school, and clearly no one sent him to one because you can have a tight jaw and then you're not pronunciating.
But I've seen him in the past. I've never noticed it. So I almost wonder if it's an ailment of some sort or some sort. Again, that does not fall into my rating system whatsoever. My thing is, I don't like these movies. And I like both the leads in this movie a lot. They're both Hallmark perennials. You see them in lots of films. I find Sam Page to be normally very enjoyable. I didn't have any real problem with his character in this, although there was a weird moment. It revolved around the toothbrushes with his mom, and the way they were standing in the kitchen, it just felt awkward where he was going to run out and buy toothbrushes for his kids. And she's like, I have toothbrushes. He's like, well, do they glow and play Jingle Bells? And it was just like, it felt like that's the first scene they shot of this entire movie.
Yeah, they just met that day. And he was like, this is my mom.
I just didn't have a lot I could find in Sam Page's character that I really liked, other than that car, which is awesome. So we got him for 5. I give him a 5.
Yeah, I think Sam Page is hot. But I also don't think he's like, meow. Like, I think he's like a good looking chap. One thing that did bump him from what I was gonna do to a higher number is because Mama loves when there's like a little bit of gray in these boys' hair. My husband's getting it now, and it's like, okay.
Don't dye that. Don't dye that stuff.
Yeah, I like it. Don't get rid of it. Don't color that. Also, there was a moment where he went up on a ladder.
Yes.
And I was like, are they going to do it?
Yeah.
And then he got down and it was fine.
But he even referenced it, that if I fall, you'll cushion my fall, which was fun.
Yeah,
That
was cute. So he was cute, but also like, I sadly think that character was forgettable. I think the whole movie was forgettable. So I gave him a 5.5 because of the gray.
Yeah, awesome. Cool, great. Chris, it's the end of another week of Hallmark movies. Can you believe it?
We've watched 20?
20 movies. Yeah.
20 movies.
A lot.
Halfway.
How did the week look for you? Let's put these bad boys in some places. What do you think?
I'm going to work backwards.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because we haven't really been doing it that way. So let's go backwards.
So out of the 4 this weekend, I least liked the Godwink one. So that is now at my 16 slot.
17 slot. Godwink, I also put in the 17th spot. It was my least favorite of all of them. I will say that it didn't hit my bottom 3. So it still is like that middle ground. I wanted to talk about this one little moment in Godwink because you and I have gone back and forth, and I thought, how am I going to do this? But I figured this episode, since it's been very colorful and lots of beeps with language, would be the episode to talk about it. There is a weird Godwink, if you will, in this episode that is almost magical. Sam Page, the character, is hugging his, the lady he has lost, and he does this awkward movement where he moves backwards as if, when I was a 14-year-old kid and I would go to the school dances, sometimes I would have to do this, but like, it felt weird, and I was waiting for the Godwink sound to play, and I was gonna be like, I don't know what a Godwink is, but I don't think it's that.
It's not that. And I'm glad you brought this up because I know I literally texted a video of me rewinding it and saying, Kevin, does he have a boner?
When we watched it, Julie and I both were like, did you see that? And we were like, yeah, that was weird, right? Like, that wasn't me being, because I am goofy and I see into things. She's like, no, that was something. It's very
like, I know what he was going for, but oops. The angel tree I have put in 15th.
Okay. I actually put the angel tree in my number 7 spot because I liked the angel tree a lot. I had issues with the, in our rating with the lead's beard, but overall I liked the movie. It did have some issues where I was like, but it was one of those ones that I was like, I'd watch this again. Like, I would definitely watch this movie again. So yeah, I put the angel tree up in my 7 spot.
That's really far. I'm almost afraid to ask where you put A Nashville Christmas Carol. I put it at 14th, right above the angel tree.
Okay. It's funny because as I think about it, I almost could switch it. I've thought about it a lot. I can almost switch it with the angel tree. I put Nashville Christmas at number 10. And I'll tell you why. It was everything I wanted it to be in all the negative ways. Like, I loved it. It had plot holes galore. It had problems, of course, but it was so fun. And it was, of the movies that we've watched, that start to fall into that, it's the one that I'm like, I would watch that again. I would even consider seeking it out to watch it again. I have a DVR, but it was dumb fun and what I really like about these movies. Yeah. So
I do like that lead actress. She's in one of my favorite Fall Harvest ones.
Yeah.
About some pumpkin patch or something.
Yeah. It comes down to the Kix Brooks. I loved me some Kix, man. If he was the whole movie.
If he was the whole movie. If it was just like he kept popping in the little bottom being like, well, that's the end of that scene, then that would have been great.
You have the Heinies, I have the Kixies. So that leaves us with one movie, which was The Christmas House, which is the one we're reviewing now. Where did you put Christmas House on your list?
I loved this movie so much. I put it at number 3. And again, my top 3 are literally interchangeable, I think, day by day. Yeah. Like,
You don't even know. Well, I put mine at 4. It didn't quite hit that top 3. Thought about it. I was the same way. I really, really enjoyed it. It was that storyline with Treat Williams and Sharon Lawrence. It just doesn't work for me. And it was enough to go, I'm not putting it in top 3. I really liked it. I did. I liked the chemistry. You know, we talk about the chemistry between siblings and stuff. I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. It is also one that I would rewatch. I will say, the very end of that movie, we see Bill and Phyllis, everything works out and they go hiking, and it is the worst set I've ever seen in my life. And my wife even turned to me and said, don't you think it would have been easier and even cheaper if they went to a location as opposed to building that set? And like, it depends on where that set was built. Like if it was California, I'm fairly certain getting to the mountains from where they are,
just go to the side of the road.
Yeah, it looked like the backdrop of taking photos at like Olin Mills when you're a kid. Yeah. Like that. It was really bad.
I watched it again today.
Did you? Good for you.
I watched it last night and then I watched it again today. But Kevin, I have a surprise for you.
Do we have an update?
We have an update on what number 1 is because I've watched it again.
Okay. So it was Delivered by Christmas, which is still my number 1.
Yeah.
That is no longer your number 1.
No, I moved 12 Dates of Christmas to number 1 because I watched it again. Their chemistry is so palpable. Yeah. And I love the story because it's just they're on this adventure together. And I love Heine. I love him.
I know you do. I will tell you, the one that has been a little voice in the back of my head that says, move us up, is One Royal Holiday, because it was dumb fun. And I could very well move that one up before all is said and done. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe I'll watch that one again.
We have like 8 to watch this week.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I'm only watching the scheduled films.
That said, I did set my DVR to record It's Christmas Eve.
I'm going to watch this one again and again and again because out of these, I know, Betty, I'm sorry, but we watch a lot of trash.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. So, Betty, would you watch another Hallmark film? Has this ruined it for you, or will you go again?
I mean, so I appreciated your email with your information that said, don't hate watch this. Like, watch it with an open mind.
Yeah.
Which is almost impossible for me as a Jewish lady.
I don't know if any of that, we just know you, and we knew that email was written specifically. Everyone got it.
You're the only one that got it.
Yeah. Everyone else is just like, whatever you want, say it.
I don't know if any of the movies would be any different. I'll say this, even the gay couple, it was so steeped in heteronormativity. It was so almost toxically misogynist in all of its setup. And the fact that there was just that little piece, I can just imagine if this is the progressive Hallmark movie, kind of Hitler propaganda are we watching from before? That being said, yes, of course, I will watch another one. I was very delighted. What else am I going to do? Think of ways to make my basement darker? I have plenty of
and of course, Hen, I think you'll continue. This didn't ruin things for you, did it?
No. All things considered, this one was, there was no conflict really. It was just, we were waiting for people to accept their fates, which is the bare minimum plot wise. But I mean, it gave us what we needed out of a Hallmark movie. Can I plug my favorite one?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's actually not Hallmark, but it's in the vein. It's A Diva's Christmas Carol.
Yes.
It's
Very
so
good.
A Diva's Christmas Carol is a VH1 original movie, but it's starring Vanessa Williams, and it is about Mariah Carey. And they're not subtle about it. They basically rip off several of her songs. It's really good. It's really, really, really good. The music is great. But yeah, I'm always going to watch these types of movies because it's comfortable, it's accessible, and it's easy. I don't need to think. If I want to watch Inception, you know, I have to toke and like figure something else out for the rest of my night. But if I want to watch a Hallmark movie, just like sit back, relax, have a truffle, have a little sip of wine, you know.
Perfect. I mean, I know Kevin's answer. We have to watch more. But
halfway through,
baby. Thank you both so much for being on an episode of Remark. And thank you both for your amazing, honest opinions of what is, I guess, groundbreaking for Hallmark.
Change happens a little bit at a time.
Yeah, this was a baby step.
They broke ground, but the ground was frozen and they didn't have a shovel. So it did. But they kicked up some dirt, and let's hope that the hole gets deeper and deeper.
The most important thing, I think, is the discourse that's happening online. There's a lot of people that are supporting this movie and battling against the people that don't like it. And I think that's more important than the plot.
I think you're right. I think next year we'll really tell was this lip service from Hallmark, or are they really have they turned a corner and they're trying to go to a different
next year it's going to be like a sloppy bottoms Christmas Carol.
I love it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
so much thank you for making art and creating space even in these times, and getting online and making new stuff and super authentic and original. And I would do your guys' show forever. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Well, Betty, what can we plug for you?
Well, that's a great question. I think right now we're going to be doing Shitty Jews, which is not what you think it is. It's a talk show, panel show with my really good friend Sarah Nattel. We're both Jewish and have pretty upset stomachs. That's what that's about. And then we're going to do Property Brothers, which is like a very prop-based clowny game show. So that'll all be virtual online. As soon as there's a vaccine, we'll probably keep doing it virtual.
I know, it's the best. It gets real comfortable. Can people follow you maybe on Twitter or something to find those details?
Yeah, Twitter at Handstand Store, and then Facebook and Instagram Betty J Smithsonian.
Awesome. Hen, what can we plug for you, sir?
I'm not doing too much. That's a lie. I have a podcast called Fright Train where we Bill, Rick, and I discuss horror movies. I just hung up with him at 9:30, which is why I needed 2 extra minutes to hop on. So this week we reviewed The Shining verse.
Oh, nice.
And that's a podcast where you can find any podcast. And I have an Etsy, but it's on a break. And you can find me in the phone book. You know what I mean?
No, we don't. What's that mean?
I don't have a conclusion to that joke.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I'm in.
Well, you guys were awesome. Thank you for doing this, and thank you once again for watching. If you made it through as much as we have, Chris and I are having a blast, and we have live shows coming up on December 3rd, December 10th, and December 17th. You can find information about those at comedysportsphilly.com, and you can pick up tickets and come see. It'll be some of this and some games and some fun. So come join us.
Are you, after COVID, are you doing this next year, but in front of an audience?
Kevin!
This is that, and that's where the episode had already ended.